I'm Symphony Privet. Thank you for joining us for this Independence Day special edition of Featured. As America celebrates its 250th birthday, we are highlighting the people and organizations across the country who make a difference every day in their communities. Now, we are starting with a dedicated team of volunteers in Connecticut who make sure aviation history is honored. At the New England Air Museum, they are as hands-on as it gets to make that happen. The work in the restoration hangar is well underway. Here's Jim Altman.
Well, our series of stories on America 250 hasn't taken flight yet. For that, you have to come to Windsor Locks and see the team that makes it all happen. A slow reveal. That massive hangar door. It offers a window to the past.
We are aircraft restoration, the New England Air Museum volunteer restoration team.
The site showcased some of the story.
This aircraft here is an E-1B Tracer.
The sounds add more texture.
Aviation has everything to do with America's 250th. It has everything to do with what this country was built on.
There's a lot of magic going on here, all done by volunteers here at the museum. We actually get the opportunity and the honor of restoring some old aircraft, bringing history alive.
The rivets aren't just making a connection. They're a bond to a bygone era.
So this is a piece of Vietnam history.
For the New England Air Museum's restoration team, these are major props and even more jet power. Bob Vizzola leads the group.
This is definitely American history. We have aircraft that flown on the civilian side, but the military aircraft flew in World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and still flying today. And we are currently finishing up on an E-1B Tracer, which is an air surveillance aircraft. And this was actually flown by the husband of Governor Jody Rell.
Now over 100 volunteers strong. The team isn't just built on preserving history. They're preserving the stories from the sky.
It's not just a picture on a page. It's a piece of hardware that sometimes they can touch, sometimes actually go into. So our mission is preserving history to provide education.
And across 50 acres dedicated to honoring aeronautical achievement. This decades-old pilot program endures.
They are restoring American history in this hangar. The talent and the passion.
I mean, you look at the aeronautical history in Connecticut, it's amazing. You look at America's air power, it's amazing. And a lot of that is shown right here.
That was Jim Altman reporting from Connecticut. Now, you may not think an art gallery and community health center have a lot in common, but they are both rooted in one thing: healing. And that's why for Intercommunity Healthcare in Connecticut, an exhibit called Breaking Free is just an extension of its mission to help people break free from substance abuse and mental health struggles. Here's Annette Montgomery.
I wanted to make sure that this space kind of gave the message of respect and gave the message of art and healing. And our mission as a gallery is to connect people to art, to community, and to well-being. And bringing that opportunity for people to think about how do they break free, whether it's from an addiction, from a health issue, from whatever, again, may be holding them down.
As a community health center focused on helping people heal, America's 250th anniversary provided an opportunity for intercommunity healthcare to explore a different kind of recovery.
We see everybody, regardless of their history, their legal status, their gender, their ability to pay. So all services are provided, if necessary, with no cost to them.
That same spirit of inclusion can be found through the Breaking Free exhibit, where artists explored what freedom meant to them 250 years after the founding of the United States. For artist Paul Gruen, that meant reimagining one of the country's most famous phrases, "We the people
We the Pixels is a Python-generated program I wrote, random generated program with 342 million individual pixels. They represent the 342 million people in the United States.
A modern take on We the People, and a reminder that every individual story helps create a larger picture. For Dana Monique, the theme Breaking Free took her to a very specific American story, her mother's.
This is what America is. America is about difference and accepting it. And if it were not for her, all of my 3 sisters would not be out the ghetto today.
Other artists turned the question and answered by exploring the country and raising the question of whether America, like the people in it, is still healing.
I want you, the viewer, to contemplate. Are we feeling fractured as a nation? Are we a fractured society? Can we heal like a fractured bone?
From immigration and identity to justice and patriotism, each piece offers its interpretation of what it means to break free.
I wanted it more to be about the enduring spirit of our land and what America has been through.
This exhibit is well over 25 artists from across the state, and it's really capturing a variety and the best of what people have to express about what freedom means to them. It may look like a lot of different things, and we're here to kind of just celebrate that on this journey to July 4th.
That was Annette Montgomery reporting. Leaders say they came up with the title Breaking Free to not only celebrate America, but to also celebrate the spirit of breaking free to overcome anything that may hold you down. Now, for members of one Pennsylvania jiu-jitsu gym, the biggest victories aren't measured in medals or titles. They are measured in the impact they can make on others. Lauren Bradford shows us how the gym is tapping out cancer.
Here. Turn, now to the back.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brings community to combat sports.
Jiu-Jitsu is about community. It's about helping others. It's the mutual benefit and welfare of those around us. And the community has supported us when we opened up about a year ago. And it was just a blessing that we were able to do something for those outside of our own 4 walls and mat space.
In just its 2nd year of business, East York Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is showing just how powerful that community can be.
We did open mats, private lessons, carnivals, just invite the whole community out, and we had a tremendous response to all of the stuff that we were throwing out there.
Their mission, raise money for Tap Cancer Out, an organization dedicated to funding cancer research.
Everybody's impacted by cancer. Everybody knows somebody that has had cancer, that has survived cancer, that has passed away from cancer. So it really speaks to people.
And while gyms across the country joined the cause, none did it quite like East York.
Initially, we wanted to hit about $10,000, and we hit it within like the first month or 2. Like, what do we do next? Like, what where do we go from here?
Once it hit a certain point, it just continued to grow and grow and grow. And then when we got there that morning, we knew when we hit 20, so we lost our mind with that, of course.
The final amount raised, $26,064.
I wouldn't have it any other cause. It means so much to me. I'm glad that I was able to do this, and I'm going to continue to do it for as long as I can.
Until cancer taps out, the mission continues.
And if we have the opportunity to be able to use our platform to be able to help kids who are having a tough time, we're going to do it every single time.
Lauren Bradford.
One woman in Texas is working to give animals a second chance. She's the founder and a volunteer at Lifelong Friends Pet Adoption. Quita Culpepper shares her story.
At Lifelong Friends Pet Adoption,
I can't believe it's been 30 years ago.
pictures of dog days gone by are posted on the bulletin boards, each one with a tale to tell.
Time flies when you're having fun. Come on in.
They're reminders of Andrea Phillips' 30-year legacy of saving helpless and abandoned animals and finding them loving homes.
Sometimes they're brought to us, sometimes we find them abandoned on the street and they're starving to death.
Phillips and her volunteer crew rescue dogs and cats in the North Lake Travis area.
There isn't really an animal control department in this area, and there was a real need out here. The need is even worse now because the population has grown out here.
Phillips started Lifelong Friends to find a new purpose in her life.
I was needing something to do and to fulfill, an empty space that I had at the time.
She never expected so many years later she'd still be saving lives on a shoestring budget.
We don't have funding from the county, we don't have funding from the city. So we take them in, we get them vetted, we get them spayed and neutered, we get their shots, and we do all of that for the last 30 years on nothing but donations.
Each furry friend gets the help they need, like this good boy.
Bear, one of our dogs, had a broken hip. He had been hit up 1431 by a car.
Bear is now happy, healthy, and ready for a forever home, thanks to Phillips and her team of volunteers.
And I think there would be an awful lot more suffering going on without us if we weren't here.
That was Quita Culpepper reporting from Texas. Coming up after the break, this morning a Georgia police sergeant thought he was showing up to mentor kids, but instead he got the surprise of a lifetime. We'll show you how.
A coffee shop in Ivoryton is doing so much more than selling a morning brew. They're giving people a reason to visit their historic village. I'm Celine Arif, introducing you to the owners coming up.
We are introducing you to a new coffee shop in Connecticut that's doing things a little differently. The hosting company is also a retail store and an event space, as well as a place to discover local products. Celine Arif gives us a tour.
Here at the hosting company, the owners tell me they've met so many more of their neighbors since opening the shop, and that's what they want to do for everyone else too.
People come for the coffee and stay for everything else.
Intricate, beautiful things and florals and plants, and it's not going to just be a coffee shop. It's going to be so much more than that.
Husband and wife Taryn Antonio Cohen and Zach Cohen knew when they moved to the Ivoryton area 6 years ago, this area was missing something important.
I joke that it's slightly selfish that we live in the village and really wanted a great cup of coffee, so it was partially self-serving.
And just like they host people for drinks and pastries, they want people to host and build their own communities. It's why they have gifts, dishware, and fresh flowers all throughout the store. And of course, local coffee too.
Coffee beans that we brew all of our espresso drinks and all of our drip coffee is using these beans. These are roasted in Connecticut by our friends at Rebel Dog.
Ivoryton is a small village with some big history.
This building that we're in is actually about 1873-74 and originally was a Comstock building, they called it, because it was the Comstock Cheney factory.
And this couple's excited to give people one more reason to come learn their village's history. And while they're at it, they can learn about local gifts and products the store carries.
Collaborate with a vendor and partner that we use in the event industry a lot to create this really beautiful charger. She commissioned me.
Both Antonio and Cohen work full-time jobs outside of this. Antonio in the event designing industry, and Cohen's family owns multiple grocery stores. But no matter how busy they are, they still make time to grow this business they've planted here in Ivoryton.
And I wanted to ultimately create a space that people felt safe and happy and uplifted and inspired when they came in. So seeing what we've created here, I still have to pinch myself at the end of the day.
That was Celine Arif reporting. A Georgia police sergeant was recently surprised when he was honored for his work with kids that's changing lives across his community. Caitlin Ross shows us how Sergeant Howard Jenkins is being recognized as one of the country's first hometown heroes.
Inside the classroom, Sergeant Howard Jenkins is surrounded by the kind of noise he loves the most. Kids laughing, asking questions.
I like that as a police officer, I get a chance to change the lives of kids and help them make better choices.
He's spent years giving kids a safe place after school, a coach, a mentor, a reason to believe someone is rooting for them.
And PALS gives kids possibilities, and that's incredible.
And he understands how powerful that can be because he remembers the officers and mentors who once poured that same care into him when he was part of the PALS program growing up.
It was integral in not just me being a police officer, but me just being a good person.
That's why this moment caught him so off guard. The U.S. Attorney's Office surprising Jenkins with one of the country's first Hometown Hero Awards.
So what we're celebrating here is civic engagement, liberty, and service. And that's what Sergeant Jenkins really embodies.
When we invest in our kids, when we mentor our kids, when we give them a space to live their very best lives, they will turn around and give back.
Jenkins says every child deserves someone willing to show up for them, especially when life gets hard.
I hope we reinvest in young people, because young people are the future. So whether that's young people that have made poor choices or young people that are making all the right choices, they both deserve a second and third chance at contributing to our country.
That was Caitlin Ross reporting from Georgia. Great story there. The officer says he is honored by the award, but this is really for his team, showing the impact PALS has every single day. I love seeing how surprised he was by that, and congratulations to him for that honor.
A boxing academy that has been around for more than 30 years is teaching lessons beyond the ring. I'm Kay Pattyfoot, and coming up, see how one coach shows his athletes a combination to better their lives.
A boxing academy in Connecticut called COBA has shaped far more than just fighters. It's where discipline is learned, confidence is built, and generations have found their footing both inside and outside the ring. Kay Pattyfoot introduces us to the man who made it possible.
Johnny Callis is trying to instill more than just the fundamentals of the sports in his athletes. He's also showing them how a jab, uppercut, and hook can teach them skills for life. He's building something that lasts longer than belts. Every punch thrown here carries a lesson, and every round fought means something outside the ring.
The greatest thing in the world is to see a kid become successful, graduate high school, move into college or some other form of secondary education, be a trade school, become a fireman, a police officer. Those are our proudest moments.
But every lesson and drop of sweat leads back to the same place, the ring.
In my amateur years at CCSU, I won a national championship in 1985. I've been named a 3-time All-American. I participated on USA NCBA boxing teams that went to Russia, Czechoslovakia, Brunei, Southeast Asia.
Coach Johnny Callis doesn't box anymore, but he never gave up the gloves. Instead, he gives them out. He's reffed and coached for more than 30 years. He's also a mentor to hundreds of athletes at the Charter Oak Boxing Academy, or COBA.
It's everything. I love doing this. I consider myself the luckiest man in the world. When somebody new comes here, it's funny because I find myself just giving it 150%. And, laying everything out to them, what boxing's all about.
He says at his gym, it's more than boxing.
COBA is kind of, I guess you could say, my canvas. I don't want to be egotistical, but my canvas that very much reflects my love of boxing, my boxing career, my love for all people, and especially inner city kids, and also my social work career.
For many around the gym, he's known as
Coach Johnny Callis. Coach Johnny Callis. Coach Callis.
He's been able to take collegiate students and Hartford community members, and not only that, but just the youth in general, and just create such a beautiful dynamic and such beautiful relationships. It's truly incredible what he has built here.
Even when I didn't think I could do it in this sport, pushed me to do a lot better in this sport.
I owe a lot of my personal development to his teaching style and him pushing me to be better and better every single day.
But for Dion Callis, coach also goes by dad.
He's just my dad, but to a lot of people, he's like kind of a local legend and somebody who's like a father figure in the Hartford community and around Connecticut as well and beyond.
Johnny Callis says all of his 3 kids have either boxed or continue to help with the gym. He says his wife is his #1 supporter and his biggest cheerleader throughout the years.
We've been together for 47 years, and that's my greatest accomplishment.
I love that. That was Kay Pattyfoot reporting. A lot of the athletes say they appreciate the academy and the man who runs it. I could definitely see how the discipline that they learn to apply in the ring can also apply to other areas of their life outside of the ring. Wonderful story. All right, still ahead, a healthcare provider in New Orleans is taking life-saving information directly into the community. We'll show you how she is helping people access the services they need. And they can trace their family roots to the American Revolution. And now they are helping shape the next generation. How the Daughters of the American Revolution are turning history into service. Thank you for staying with us for this special edition of Featured. I'm Symphony Privet, and we are celebrating America's 250th birthday and bringing you uplifting stories from across the country about everyday people doing some amazing things. Now we continue with how one restaurant in Connecticut stepped up to support America's bravest with chicken wings. Joe Monty has the story.
Ahead of America's 250th anniversary, the Store Bar and Grill, a restaurant in Torrington, decided they wanted to give back to America's bravest, our first responders, our military personnel, and their families. And they're doing so with chicken wings.
The wings are a great seller here, so we decided to use that as our Tunnel to Towers fundraiser.
Torrington has always been a part of Dina Frank's life. As the owner of the Store Bar and Grill, she wants to help her community give back to the people who made it all possible.
Tunnel to Towers is special to us because we know that the money gets to the people in need.
And the money's coming from chicken wings.
Every dozen that is sold, we donate $1 to the Tunnel to Towers.
Every dozen wings is another $1 that will help Tunnel to Towers build an adapted smart home for a seriously injured veteran or first responder, or pay off a family's mortgage after losing a loved one in the line of duty. To Torrington's first responders, this chicken wing charity means a lot.
When I heard that the store here was doing a fundraiser for Tunnel to Towers, we were all in because they support us and we need to support them. You know, they're an awesome organization that helps out, police, fire, EMS, and veterans.
And the restaurant means a lot to the community.
It's one of my favorite places in town. My husband and I frequent here. They have some of the best wings in the area. The customer service is always great, and of course, coming here to see Dina and her smiling face is always wonderful.
Like Mayor and former Marine Molly Spino, Fire Chief David Tripp says it's a great opportunity for the community to eat something great and support something even greater.
Is have great wings. Anything you could do to support these little things and actually have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
That's the best part. It's not just, you're donating your money, you're actually having a good time and knowing that your money is going to a good place.
Dina's family has a military history that goes back generations.
I lost a cousin in Vietnam at the age of 19, so that is why I wear my American flag every day. My dad was a Marine. My husband's family has a lot of veterans in it.
Now she's helping honor them and so many others who served our country 250 years in the making.
That was Joe Monty reporting. Now, he's not in it for the money, the tips, or the trims. For over a decade, one 80-year-old man in Idaho has been giving seniors a fresh look on the house. Ah, that's awesome. Aspen Schumpert shows us why his kindness is a cut above.
In the back of the Boise Basin Senior Center, the buzz isn't gossip, it's Doug.
Sit back and relax and I'll fix you up.
He's been cutting hair since he was 18, starting in Pennsylvania, then Alaska and Hawaii, before he and his wife moved to the Gem State in 1976.
I like the outdoors. I used to like to hunt.
Although he officially retired as a truck driver, he never quite put down the shears.
You want a haircut?
They lived in Idaho City for 10 years, volunteering at the senior center before moving to Boise, where they live now and still drive from to volunteer.
My wife said we had to get close to civilization.
But out here,
nobody cuts hair. Nope.
The closest barber is over 50 miles away in Boise.
I realized, you know, if you can help out the older folk especially, why not?
Many of the Idaho City seniors are low income, relying on the meals and programs from the senior center.
A haircut's like, I don't know what it is anymore, unless you go to Supercuts for probably $30, $35. That's a big chunk out of their Social Security.
So once a month, Doug sets up shop here, free of charge.
I think people should help people, period.
All of this off, too.
All of it off?
Yes.
I can do that.
It wasn't always a clean cut, though, when he first offered to volunteer.
So it was just like a peanut gallery over here. They're watching me, you know, see what, and then after I gave some haircuts, they relaxed, and off we went.
15 years later, the peanut gallery's gone quiet, and the chairs stay full.
My eyebrows were getting way too long.
Why is that?
And after a haircut, it makes you feel better. Doug's great. I love him coming up here.
Doug says it's more than just a haircut.
You know, it's like when you mow grass, instant gratification almost. The grass is long, it's shaggy. Cut it. Oh, that looks nice.
What really gets cut here is loneliness.
That's always somebody to talk to.
I think sometimes they might think, you know, I'm not worth anything. And so they come in here. I like the kids with them, you know, and they like it too. And I treat them like anybody, like I should, right? And they like that. Okay, you're beautiful, sir.
He's a part of the family.
Doug says they aren't clients, they're friends.
Pretty as I can make you without plastic surgery.
Even some he's lost along the way.
I had one guy who was 90-some years old. He had more hair in his ears than most people had on top of their head.
He says he's not planning putting the clippers down anytime soon.
When I tell him I'm going to be here, I'll be here. Unless I hope and die, then it's a different story, you know.
And while the cuts are free, the company,
well, you got to take your hearing aids out or that won't be no good.
Is priceless.
Oh, yeah, boy, you're looking good now.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was Aspen Shumpert reporting from Idaho. Women across Florida are working to preserve the stories of ordinary Americans who made freedom possible. Courtney Robinson introduces us to the members of the Daughters of the American Revolution and their mission to ensure those sacrifices and the people behind them are never forgotten.
Some interesting stories there, too.
Page by page.
Right there.
Branch by branch.
It's my dad's family and then my mom's family.
Gail Laundries spent 5 decades tracing the roots of her family tree.
Yeah, that's her.
Did you know that you had ancestors that went back to, really?
No clue. Getting off the steamship. Mm-hmm.
The search has connected Gail to 65 patriots of the American Revolution.
That's a South Carolina Scouts uniform, what they wore.
Men and even women whose service and sacrifice helped shape a new nation.
You really feel a connection to these people. Once you get to know more and more about them, they all have their stories, and you start to realize they were real people.
For Gail, genealogy isn't about the names that you see on this paper.
She's the one that first came over, Diana Skipwith.
It's about finding the people behind the records.
St. Margaret.
The stories hidden inside centuries-old documents.
I probably feel most connected to my first one, my first patriot. He was Elisha Ford. He was born in 1757, and he filled out a pension record in the 1830s. He was still alive and told his story.
Many of the patriots Gales uncovered weren't previously documented by the Daughters of the American Revolution, which houses one of the largest genealogical collections in the United States.
Because a lot of them had not been on the DAR database, so they were new ancestors, new patriots.
And now they are.
Now they're on there for other people to find.
We're all connected to the revolution through our bloodlines. It's direct descendants, so we all have that in common, and that's the place where everything starts.
As Florida's state regent, Kim Zeman leads more than 11,000 members in preserving history, promoting patriotism, and investing in future generations through education and scholarships.
I think the biggest thing that I want people to remember about patriotism is it's not politics.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you.
At a recent celebration marking the 50th anniversary of the chapter in Sun City Center,
I now declare this meeting in session.
we saw the mission in action.
Remove your glove from your right hand.
Members wear ribbons covered in pens. Some recognize volunteer service, others are engraved with the names of their Revolutionary War patriots.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Jennifer Marks has 14.
Between your hand and your heart, you're holding your patriots.
And to the republic for which it stands.
You're remembering them. You're keeping them alive in their memory alive.
With liberty and justice for all.
Her first discovery was a young Continental Army soldier named Comfort Redway. Years later, she found and marked his grave, ensuring his service would not be forgotten.
And he fought for 3 years for our country. Nobody had remembered him. And now he's remembered.
And that is at the heart of the Daughters of the American Revolution, making sure these people are not left to history, one patriot at a time.
Is there a point where you say, okay, I'm done?
No. Genealogy is never done.
That was Courtney Robinson reporting from Florida. Like many organizations, they are working to increase membership among younger women in local chapters. So hopefully those younger ladies can keep the legacy going to ensure that those stories are not forgotten over time. A healthcare provider in New Orleans is making a difference both inside and outside the exam room. Now, her work focuses on HIV prevention, health education, and connecting people with care throughout the community. She says healthcare doesn't stop when patients leave the doctor's office. Through community events, educational outreach, and HIV prevention efforts, she is working to make healthcare accessible for more people across New Orleans. Whitney Miller tells us more.
At the Clinic NOLA, Dr. Kelly Baquet helps patients access everything from reproductive health care and HIV treatment to wellness exams and hormone therapy. But some of her most impactful work happens beyond the clinic walls.
I was diagnosing HIV more than I wanted to, and I was so angry because this is preventable, and I wanted to be able to help those patients more than when I was helping them. So fourfold, we've started treating HIV, which has brought a lot of fulfillment to me because people are living longer with HIV, and I'm also preventing it. So we're doing a lot of prevention.
That frustration helped shape her mission.
Happy Mardi Gras, y'all!
Today, Baquet spends time educating people about HIV prevention and sexual health, often taking that information directly into the community.
Service means to me meeting people where they are and trying to combat some of the health disparities that we don't have control over. Transportation, access to care. If you work, you can come to an appointment on a Saturday. And so for me, community service is going to festivals and showing up with the availability if someone needs to be seen, to make that happen. So showing up as a provider in community spaces.
As Pride Month begins, Baquet says that commitment includes supporting the LGBTQ+ community while also addressing broader healthcare disparities. She's especially passionate about making sure Black women feel seen and heard when seeking care.
I want Black women to feel safe. I want Black women to walk in offices and not feel like they don't matter or not feel like their pain isn't real. I want the fight against maternal mortality, and I want the fight against new HIV diagnoses in Black women. I want Black women to be seen in healthcare.
For Bakke, service is about more than treating patients. It's about building trust, breaking down barriers, and helping people take charge of their own health.
That was Whitney Miller reporting from New Orleans. Still to come this morning on Featured, a San Diego firefighter's wife is battling cancer. We'll show you how her community is now coming together to support one of their own.
One of Connecticut's most dedicated firefighters isn't slowing down in retirement. I'm Tim Latow in Roxbury with how one hero continues to serve even after 45 years on the job.
Chrissy Basham is a 39-year-old mother of two fighting stage 4 breast cancer. Her husband, Chris, is a San Diego firefighter. Their community is now fighting alongside them. Abby Black shares the inspiring story.
Behind me, dozens of firefighters are working to tear down and replace this entire roof for a San Diego firefighter and his wife battling stage 4 breast cancer. The work is free. The message is simple. This community shows up. You can't wash the smile off Chrissy Basham's face as she watches volunteers tear down her 40-year-old roof.
It's a really good boost, and it encourages me to keep going, keep fighting.
That started 2 years ago when Chrissy, wife of San Diego firefighter Chris Basham, was diagnosed with stage 4 triple negative breast cancer.
I was 39 when I was diagnosed. Cancer just doesn't care. Cancer doesn't care.
But Firefighter Aid and the East County Posse do care. Firefighter Aid is a nonprofit made up of local firefighters who show up for their own facing hardship.
Yeah, we're family. We're on the job or off the job, we're still family. We show up.
The East County Posse, made up of volunteer contractors and skilled volunteers with tools and a heart for helping.
I think everybody in life needs a hand up at times. To kind of be that forklift, to try and lift them up and just help them get ahead in life and feel good about it.
The Bashams bought their lakeside home in 2017, knowing it needed a new roof, but with 3 doctor appointments a week and chemo every Monday, Chrissy says their priorities shifted.
My feel-good days are very limited, and we're trying to spend that time making family memories. And so as much as we needed the roof, it wasn't the priority for our time.
So Firefighter Aid made it theirs.
So we're gonna replace your roofs for free.
They partnered with East County Posse with all the supplies, materials, and labor donated by Extreme Roofing.
It was just like a partnership to match made in heaven.
For Chris, Chrissy, and their 2 teenage sons, in the middle of this darkness, they see the good.
And I want them to see the good in the world amidst the tragedy and amidst what we're going through in our family, because would be really easy to take on a very negative aspect of life with everything going on and with their mom having terminal cancer. That we try to point out all the blessings and all the good in the world.
In Lakeside, Abby Black.
Oh my goodness, I'm glad to see that the firefighters all banded together. They spend a lot of time together every day, so they definitely are like family, and we're wishing her the best. Bernie Meehan worked as a firefighter for 45 years. Well, even though he just retired from his full-time firefighting job, he'll still be saving lives around the clock in retirement. Tim Latow shares his story.
From small towns to big cities, Bernie Meehan has been answering the call for nearly half a century. No matter where the emergency is, it's the people he serves and works with that have kept him going for so long.
Your day is somebody else's worst day. So when you unlock their car or you get their cat out of a tree, that's a total crisis to that individual.
For almost his entire life, Bernie Meehan has gotten to live his dream of being a firefighter. He volunteers for his hometown fire department in Roxbury and is an emergency response coordinator for Litchfield County. Meehan's also worked full-time with the Danbury Fire Department for more than 40 years. His career started even before that At the age of 16, he started to volunteer for fire departments and ambulance companies from Newtown to Monroe.
And overnight I would sleep in the Monroe police station, right, their ambulance.
Once out of college, Meehan stayed with Danbury his entire career. He says that's because the city takes care of its first responders, and there's never a dull day on the job.
You never know what's going to happen. We've got the highway, the lake, the airport, businesses, the mall. I mean, every day was a different day.
Meehan decided to retire from Danbury on March 17th to slow down and have more time for himself. That won't stop him from continuing to volunteer for Roxbury and Litchfield County. And even in a town of 2,000, it wasn't a dull day in Roxbury.
Might have to cut.
South Street for the car building.
Quick as his teenage days, Meehan was out the door within seconds. A call came in for a car that crashed into the town's senior center. Meehan jumped into engine 12 and was the first responder on scene. No one was hurt, the driver just backed up too far, but the car came to rest on a gas line. Meehan took charge, secured the scene, and made sure the old town hall building was safe from any fire risk. It's that commanding but calm demeanor that lets everyone know they'll be okay. It even sticks with car crash victims he saved decades ago.
She keeps contacting me every year, the anniversary of her car accident. She says, hey, we're still out here, you're still there.
Sometimes the people Meehan saved don't even remember it, but the connection they formed turns into a friendship.
28 years ago, we delivered her as a baby, and we're friends now.
That's what happens when you serve the people you care about for decades. Meehan's career is a tale of service not to one town or city, but to many. His childhood dream came true and is still burning bright.
Anything is possible.
Great story there from Tim Leteau. Still ahead, one mother in Texas is proving it's never too late. We'll show you how she is inspiring her kids to fight for their dreams, no matter what. When the bell rang at a fight night in Texas, one boxer was fighting for much more than a win. She was fighting as a mother, a soldier, and a woman finally living out the dreams she once put on pause. Here's Sydney Wicker.
Inside the ring at Fort Hood, Marissa Tate wasn't just fighting for a win. She was fighting for dreams that had to wait.
I've been boxing since I was 12.
Boxing has been a big part of Tate's life. But at a young age, she not only stepped away from the sport, but she put her dreams on pause to raise her 3 children.
And I stopped around about 20 years old. I've got 3 children, and so I just kind of raised them up.
She also put another dream on hold, joining the Army, the goal that she carried with her for years while putting her family first.
I'd hate to say it, but it is a bucket list thing for me, things I've never been able to do. It's always been in me, but I've just never been able to do it. Now I'm finally able to do it.
A year ago, Tate enlisted. Now stationed at Fort Hood, she's training every day and stepping back into the boxing ring for the installation's 4th fight night against Fort Bliss. And through it all, she's had the support of the people she once sacrificed for.
My youngest son, he also boxes. He's going to be walking me out. And to have that support walking out with me is just amazing.
At an age when people stop chasing new dreams, Tate is proving it's never too late to start something new or finish something you began years ago.
At my age, I did not think that it was going to happen, but I have the support of my children, and they push me, and I'm like super woman to them. Just never give up. It's never, ever too late. I come in here with a lot more experience and punches that have been thrown at me throughout my whole life, and now I'm finally able to fight back and prove that, I'm a living proof that it's never too late.
The mother of 3 didn't just step back into the ring, she left with her hand raised. A victory that meant far more than the final bell.
Just raising my hand, I almost didn't even hear it. I just felt the hand, and I was like, it's me! So yeah, that's exciting.
From mother to soldier to winner, Marissa Tate's story is proof that sometimes the dreams you put on pause are still waiting for you when you're ready to chase them.
After that big sacrifice and being away for so long, I just had to prove 10 times more than that. Even though I made a small sacrifice to be away from them for a little bit of time, now I've been with them more than ever. I feel like I've done so much more now than ever with the military background and a little bit of boxing to add to my career that I also put on hold a long time ago, but now I'm doing it and I have the support of them, and I just want them to have somebody to look up to.
I'm super proud of my mom.
That was Sydney Wicker reporting from Texas. I'm super proud of her too. That is amazing, and I know that's no easy feat. That is it for this special edition of Featured. Until next time, make it a great one and happy 4th of July.